Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Donut County. We're on the main screen because the app crashed. Feel like I should probably applaud it for actually popping up a crash box instead of just crashing, which is what happens most of the time when I turn off all three of my monitors, TVs. Um, Something about the resetting there of the video card seems to cause that to happen fairly frequently with games. Um, if anything, it's kind of a great test of where we are as far as how games handle crashes, whereas some players may experience several crashes on a game because their hardware is incompatible in some weird way or broken, or some players may experience no crashes at all. Ideally, the right number of crashes is 0, but most games will just close completely. Some games don't even have autosaves, and so they close completely and you have to go back to the last manual save. This one seems to have saved after the last level, so we're fine. So BK saying, boom, I was just cleaning up the neighborhood. Who else has a gripe with me? I do, says Coco. Well, my gripe is actually with Mira. Ooh, now you're in for it, Mira. Coco? Question mark? Well, Mira knows the details, but I figure everyone else should hear. Even the bird weirdos? Yes, tell them. Sigh, I knew the raccoons were making the holes. I knew the whole time. Gasp from everyone. So, Mira is involved. And it would almost make more sense. How many snakes would it take to defeat you? Question mark. Interesting. And she's texting Coco. So if Mira was actually mirror, and we were going to have two holes that mirrored everything, that would be an interesting gameplay mechanic to add to this. But I don't think we're probably going in that direction. I think we're going to have just a limited number of puzzles. What it's unfortunately going to leave happening here is a situation where you'd have to tell a completely different story and make a whole another set of bespoke levels to make a sequel to this, and I just don't know if there's enough value in playing a game like this twice, which is pretty much what the sequel would be. Yeah, I still haven't gotten an achievement, by the way, for playing all these ducks as an emoji. And it is kind of an interesting commentary, though, on emojis. If there was literally only one that just made a quacking, it almost feels like there might be some kind of like cheat code where you put in a certain number, like a combination lock. And the fact that each duck is its own duck. And you can't hold it down. There are, it seems, about 18-20 achievements in this game. So either there's a lot more puzzles than I think, or big snake's venomous, question mark, normal size. But you gotta fight it in a tiny room. So we may find out Mira is the one that made the game in the first place. Okay. Probably 1,000 snakes, lol. Okay, expect a shipment soon. You haven't looked into the disappearances yet, have you? No. Salt hasn't answered his phones in days. Did you talk to Possum? He said he has info. Possum told me that the earth is hollow and flat at the same time, somehow. Mira, you know ever since those raccoons moved in, folks have been disappearing. And you work at their donut shop. I don't know. The raccoons treat me really well. And BK is my friend. I ordered a donut. Why? I want to see how they taste. I gotta go. I'll talk to you soon. Alright. Here we've got little lizards running around, which is perhaps an experiment in a little bit of AI. They're chameleons. And so they're hidden. So we're, I suppose, trying to find these smaller chameleons. You can kind of see just a short outline of them, but they gotta get the smaller ones first, the yellow ones. Then we can get big enough, I think, to get the green ones, which are the medium-sized ones. Then we'll get the darker ones last. We got some kind of piffy music playing in the background. The thing here, though, is that this does kind of feel like this is an indie game made by Ben Esposito, and I feel like I want to check to make sure that this is the first game he's ever made, because I'm starting to get a little concerned that some of these games with one name producers, often they aren't actually just one person working on them. It's just that there's one main person and they're only crediting themselves. But particularly if you're buying like pre-bought assets, then that really isn't a case where it was made by one person. But it's also incredibly easy to get bits of code from other people and lean on the shoulders of giants, as it were. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a game out there that tries to give you the feeling that it's made by some small independent first timer, when really it's somebody who's been working in the industry for a lot longer than that, and they have just been like a quality assistant or employee, or they've been a senior programmer, but not even, maybe just a junior programmer, and this is maybe their first independent go of it. There's a sad disconnect, certainly, between the reality of how hard it is to make games and how easy a finished game makes it seem. In many cases. Like, and at a certain level, I guess we're gonna need 25 or 30,000 points to get to rank 10. Like, games will always be hard, and there's just like no way to make making games easier. Particularly when you want to throw in a new concept, like moving a hole is not something that by default you could easily program in a game. Having holes in a game and having objects have physics in something like Unity is fairly easy, and having gravity is something that is often just like built in built into some engines like Unity, but having the environment change and shift under you is not something that people would have thought of and done a lot of. And if you do see like a sinkhole forming in something like a first-person shooter, that usually would be some very scripted, hand-coded event. It wouldn't be a robust function that is the main core gameplay mechanic of an experience. And yeah, we need more people to experiment with ideas like this so we can have different kinds of events and gameplay mechanics and get away from most games being first-person shooters where you just run and gun. Even though I do like games like that, they are very prevalent. Mara says, I'm so sorry, Coco. ... It was my fault you got put in the hole. I should never have taken the job with the raccoons. What the? I thought we were friends, dude. I thought we were too. But then you ruined my town. Grr. I don't get it. I tried to help you when you asked me to. I bought the catapult upgrade for you, even though it was a waste of points. You told me that with the catapult you could launch everyone back out of the hole. Yet here we are, in the hole. Chickens are not a waste of points. So it almost feels like the video game is just directly connected to the reality of this world. And Jellybean, this may be the first time we've even heard Jellybean talk. That being said, I think we've heard everyone else around the fire talk. Kiss Dollop on the head. You offended her. Buck, says Dollop. No. Kiss her. Buck. No. It's the least you can do after stealing all of our eggs. I didn't steal the eggs. They fell through the ground. Buck. Just tell her your story, Jellybean. Or tell her your story, Jellybean. Times were tough on the farm. I had to sell my prized rooster to make ends meet. Dollop was very upset. It is weird that there is a donut load screen still happening in the top right little loading screen. I feel like this game probably could have been very easily optimized to have no load on even a fairly weak computer as the cutscenes were playing and we were going through the dialogue. It's telling you a time in the top right, but I don't think you really need to follow the times and make any sense of that. Here's a raccoon. So this may be a case where this is where BK gets added to the story. There goes the raccoon. There goes that. And apparently I just started a cutscene there. Why did you deliver a donut to Coco? Duck, 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 duck. Duck, 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 duck. So I finally got the achievement for playing all the ducks. Let's not do that anymore. He ordered one, question mark? Lol, what's the problem? BK, this is too much. Correction 2. You have to buy the catapult upgrade right now and fix things. But I gotta save up for the quadricopter. Do it. You promised. Fine, fine. I'll fix everything. But you owe me. Bye. So I guess this might be the point where we set everything back. That way we can potentially have some more levels. So we had already bought the tablet holder and the beanbag chair. If we buy the energy drink, we can get energy drinks. And that got me an achievement for doing that. And then buy the catapult. But see, that's actual like US dollars being used to purchase these things, or dollar currency. Maybe usually if you're going to show US dollars, that means real world currency, not points. So press the A button to catapult. Alright, well that's something. Alright, so I have a box right now. And so I need to catapult that up to something, I think. And so now we have like a watermelon. Oh, I think I see what we're supposed to do. Shoot this and then hold that. Or apparently I was supposed to just shoot up the... I was actually supposed to just shoot up the box. That way. Right, and now we see what the whole thing is. We were supposed to shoot the chicken up here. And they didn't show that to you until you could actually do it, which feels like something you would think was a good idea, but honestly, I don't think it actually was a good idea. Because it probably just confuses the issue. I think the idea here is to flip the switch and increase the production of eggs. Which is making the hole bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. Eventually it stopped, but that took longer than it probably should have. Wiggle that all around. We still got a box, but I think we've kind of forgotten the whole idea of shooting things up at this point, and it is now just back to sucking things down the holes. And I think even there I missed something. Yeah, I can't help but suspect that there's maybe one more level, maybe two, and then we are done. And on a certain level, while this is fairly nicely thought through and polished, they are really going and making a mistake I see with a lot of other like game developers, particularly small independent game developers, in which they are just cramming their game full of unnecessary third-party unnecessary items and objects, when there could have been a little bit more repetition. We could have been collecting at least one watermelon per level throughout the entire game, and then maybe there'd even be an achievement for collecting all the watermelons in the game. But we're not seeing that level of repetition. And when you get to something like, a AAA game, the script flips completely and you start having to use repetitive 3D textures and models because there's just not enough video card RAM to load in that kind of variety. And that would be the case here too if they weren't using simple color palettes and low polygon textures. Low polygon 3D models. You would start to run out of video RAM. Whereas if you make in a game, for instance, one bullet pack as a 3D box, that is only loaded in once, even if it's shown a dozen times throughout a level. Plus, it gives more value because once you start to see the same thing over and over again, that starts to stand out in people's minds. Sometimes in a negative way, because if you have a game that is got the same red explosive barrel over and over and over again for 60 hours, you get fairly tired of it. But if you are just cramming in objects to cram in objects, that's usually a mistake. Oddly, they have made a game here that is designed around that concept of being able to cram objects into objects. It's very possible each of these levels were originally designed for a completely different game, and halfway through development, the creator decided that this gameplay mechanic was better, and then retroactively put the whole gameplay mechanic in levels he was designing for something else. Because each one of those locations easily could have been a location for a point-and-click adventure type game, or a even kid-friendly short RPG game. If you look at the characters, that would make total sense if this was a collection of RPG characters. You weren't even trying to help, BK. I was trying. It's hard to use the catapult. I think the hole is only really good for destroying things. It must be designed that way. Design, question mark. Don't look at me. I didn't design it. But you used it. Well, what else could I use? I don't know, you could have used real donuts. Could a real donut have saved poor Bear Claw from certain doom? Saved me, you humiliated me. So now that we've run out of people around the fire, we're going to start hearing the stories from people further away from the fire. You can see the bird is in the back there. We may hear their story too. But clearly, he had only planned to have as many levels as people around the fire. You are getting hunted by bees. I'm a hero. You ordered a donut to the middle of the forest? Yep. ... I guess it's suspicious that you'd offered to deliver donuts all the way out to the middle of the forest. Hunted by bees? Look. It's a tough job. Sometimes you get hunted by bees. So he's a beekeeper. Hunting at National Forest. Well, this sure seems like this would be the end of the game, sucking in an entire forest. And this is where you're going to start to see some repetition, certainly, with the trees in the background. And seemingly we don't have the catapult ability anymore. So the game's not even really consistent there. It would feel like it would make more sense to let the players have the catapult ability even if it doesn't do anything. Oh, I do have the catapult ability. But I can only catapult the honeycomb. It feels like there's kind of a unique sound effect. Now we can catapult the frog. Pull down Ives. It feels like there's a unique sound effect or sound song for each level, but they're possibly just slightly too subtle for this kind of game, where being perhaps a little bit more annoying and noticeable would be better. Like big operatic type music with a actual soundtrack to it. But then you would have to potentially go even bigger for the big final song over the credits, if that was what you were going for. We're still just hitting the frog up. There is an odd disconnect here, though. You have these giant honeybees with weird wings. That's not what they look like. Oh, the frog is getting bigger each time it eats. That's interesting. But then you have tiny bees flying around the beekeeper also. Alright. Come on, down the hole. And I think that may have just been, it took 3 tries. That may have been all there was to it. I'm surprised you didn't eat the entire forest. Like, that would have been my guess. Is that you would have eaten the entire forest. What I think, though, is going to happen here is, or what I would have liked to happen, and I don't think is going to happen, to say that correctly, is I don't think we're going to get an entire county on the map and be able to just suck up like all of the remaining parts of the county, all the edges and walls that would have blocked off different sections that we've already seen. If it was like one big map, that would be interesting, certainly, but I doubt that's what's going to happen. I think we're just going to do another level and the story is going to end. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of cutesy twist, but not much of anything, really. Unless we get the quadcopter, and then the quadcopter lets us do something completely different as a gameplay mechanic, and it would be fairly late in the game to introduce something totally different. What about me? Nobody asked about me. Did BK own you with a catapult too? No. You ruined my restaurant. Your restaurant stinks. Lol, yeah. It's grade D. How can you guys be called salt and pepper and not have an appreciation for soup? Boo. Calm down, nerds. What did BK do to your restaurant? Well, I was dealing with a slight bug problem. I was exhausted from rounding up bugs, so I ordered a donut. Yeah. I could see there being a big level that you just suck up, like a Katamari Damacy experience. Which, yeah, this game isn't too far from the opposite or the inverse of a Katamari Damacy experience, but I would say the music is better in Katamari Damacy. The story, while incredibly silly in Katamari Damacy, I think is probably better. And the amount of items and the amount of time you spend per level is much longer. Maybe a little too long in Katamari Damacy's case, but these levels are too short. And And I could see a final level, not unlike some of the final levels in the first generation of Lego games, where there is a much more zoomed out city or county, and you just are sucking up entire buildings that are being copy and pasted all over. Because you can see the building models, but then it zooms in completely here. And I assume these are roaches. And these roaches are crawling maybe towards the hole. Wonder if that's because they like dark spaces and holes. But it seems like you definitely have to get everything first before you can get the hole big enough to grab everything there. And the bird is the chef, so we've seen 2 of these birds before. Alright. So we're gonna cook some soup. Apparently. Soup plus salt and pepper. Interesting. Oh, I think I know what's gonna happen here. Alright. Let's get these bugs. And the bird just vomited it out. So, this is an avoidance thing. We've got to get this salted and peppered without the roach being able to touch it. And why did that move the story forward? I have no idea. Like, because that's not like the hole even sucked in something big there and got bigger. We just gave food to the bird. Oddly, we're not big enough to eat this, but we're not using the catapult anymore either. I guess you have to get the rest of the buildings, but not the one on the left. An odd disconnect there. Like, why let me get the ones on the right and not the one on the left? I guess later we will get it. And so we have hit the level where we are just straight up sucking in entire buildings. And at a certain point, this is going to just highlight how it's going to get fairly ridiculous. Like, there's not going to be anything bigger than a building that you could suck in other than bigger buildings. So we ranked up. You've unlocked the quadcopter. Report to Raccoon HQ for training. It almost feels like this video game is a conspiracy from Raccoons, and BK is just being used by a larger group of raccoon conspirators. That wasn't really an even number of like 30,000 points though, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was a way to get a few more points, because we know a few of these levels we did miss some things, certainly. And here we can hear the music. This is the music that was on the main menu that kind of glitches out. Hmm. Yeah, you really are pushing the limits, though, of how many different 3D models you could make or buy, and I would have to assume he bought these. Otherwise, Ben Esposito spent potentially a year to 2.5 years making 3D models for one specific level. And making small, low polygon 3D models is actually a very different thing and kind of unnecessary thing compared to getting down into the weeds of making something that looks like a human and has thousands of triangles to make a complex polygon of a human face or something like that. Yeah. Even these low polygon characters would take a lot more work than making a square building. I got food poisoning from cat soup more than once. Yeah, I used to work there. It's pretty gross. Wow, haha. Everything I do seems to have helped everyone. He's got a point, Mira. Maybe BK ain't so bad. Okay, everybody. We all know cat soup was a hole even before it got holed. But let's get back to the real problem here. Yeah, my 100% smashed quadcopter. Yeah, why did you smash it, Mira? Dude, I didn't want to smash it. I had to. Feels like the quadcopter would be the thing that might fly them all out of the hole. Alright. This is just a cutscene from the looks of it. We're looking through the camera of the quadcopter at the Donut County Donut Shop. It almost feels like Mira lives either very close or in the back of the donut shop, but maybe she doesn't, and just all the buildings look the same. Check this out. Wow. Oh yeah, this. Wow. Sounds like a speaking spell. Knows how the propellers spin really fast. That's how it flies. No kidding. And it only took 12 deliveries for me to get it. Can I see? Sure. Ooh. Be careful. Careful, like this? A little lower. How about this? Smash. What are you doing? You're acting psycho. How can you brag about this stupid toy when you got it by destroying our friends' homes? They ordered the donuts, dude. I give people what they want. This is pointless. BK, what's your password for this thing? I think it's 05451. Wait, no, I changed it to Bonking Kong. Bonky Kong. Oh, BK is a parody of Donkey Kong. Thanks, by the way. Do you know what's at the bottom of the holes? I don't know. What are you doing? Teaching you a lesson. So, Mira is going to deliver BK in a hole. This is kind of a silly way to end it, but I guess it makes sense as to how did these people end up in the hole too, but it's certainly not the way to react, because if the holes are just certain doom or death, killing your friend to teach them a lesson about killing a bunch of other people is really an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth type mentality that will leave everybody blind. And apparently, at this point, you would think you would just stop, but instead you're sucking yourself into a hole also. You'd think that it would need to go out of control. I guess this room in the back is not a bedroom, it's the kitchen where they make the donuts. Clearly, this is based on a very early learning educational toy of having items fall through a hole, putting blocks through a hole, but they really didn't do a good job of making this game work like that. What seems pretty obvious to me as I think about it in this moment, what should have happened is the hole should have never been just a round hole. It should have been something that randomly for most of the levels was a small, like triangle, diamond, crescent moon, half moon, uh, shapes like that. And then you would have to either get an object to fall through that different hole, um, or you would have to find different objects that did fit through that hole to start with. And then somewhere around the halfway point, you should be able to press a secondary button instead of just having a catapult, which we only used in a couple levels. You should have had a button that could have let you switch the hole into different shapes while not actually affecting its size. Uh, and that would have been a much more interactive experience anyways, because this really is a touch screen or one analog stick style game. You barely even need one button, which when you look at a modern controller and how many buttons are on it, games probably should do something more. At the very least, you should be able to maybe pivot or zoom in with the other buttons. I guess this is probably the end of the story. I had to do it, dude. There was no other way to get through to you. ... You don't know what it's like to lose something you care about. I mean, sigh. I guess I get what you mean. You guys love your weird trash houses, and I took them away by doing my job. ... Which I guess in this context is an evil job. Close enough. Will you help us get everyone out of the hole now? Blarg, okay, fine. Where do we start? Lol, I was hoping you would know. Seems like she just sat down in a jump cut there. I don't feel like she was sitting down before. I'm sorry if I gave you the impression that I know stuff, but I know basically nothing. You've got to find Pup. If you guys can find Pup, we can use the hot air balloon to get back to the surface. Oh yeah. And see, yeah, it was a jump cut, and now she's back to standing. So, if this was the case where Ben Esposito was trying to learn animation, he didn't get very far in that. You can see in the lower right corner, you have one character waving their hand back and forth, and then the bottom middle, there's another character that waves their arm and hand back and forth, but that's the level of animation. The raccoon's tail waves smoothly back and forth, and some heads bob up and heads turn, but these are small few second animation loops. Actual transitions from one pose to another seems to have completely eluded the creator. BK, can you look up Pup on your tablet? Of course. Tablet. Please locate GPS data for the hot air balloon containing a Pup. So he just pulled that tablet out of nowhere and sat down out of nowhere in a jump animation. If anything, this feels like this should have been the animation you would have put the most amount of effort into, and it seems like he was running out of time or energy. ... I'm kidding. This thing doesn't have voice commands. You know who might be able to find Pup? Possum. No. Possum is too weird. He's weird, but you have to admit Possum was right. The earth is hollow. If you know where he lives, I can get him. Yeah. Just deliver a donut. To the abandoned house. Lol, of course Possum squats in an abandoned house. Always thought it was haunted. This is worse. It might be that there are just more levels here. I'd really just have like no indication as far as how many more levels there could be in this game now if it wasn't based on the level of the video game, and if it wasn't centering around the quadcopter, then yeah. And it seems like I'm going to end up sucking in all the light, which maybe will bring the possum out, or maybe we'll adjust our light sources. Okay, we got a flashlight now. I wasn't really expecting a flashlight element to come into play, and I wasn't really expecting it to be a spooky thing. Possum looks like he's a cat wearing a spooky mask. I'm just trying to suck up as much as possible before everything else falls down. Like, this does feel like this is where it should have been, is that there would have just been a lot of things that don't want to fall down the hole. And that you would just bounce into things quite a bit. And perhaps there is room for trying to make that a smoother experience. Certainly. And since everything is in the dark, half of the items we're collecting here do seem like they are just the same items we've seen before. And yeah, this definitely feels like this is just the end level, most difficult level. Yep. And I'm having a real hard time getting this to fall down the hole, even though it seems like it should fall down the hole. Finally. And it just seems like we may have a cat here that doesn't want to fight everything. And you can see his crazy conspiracy board on the back of the wall, connecting it all to BK. And I think that's all we can get. Although crazy conspiracy wall seems to be right. And for the storyline, that feels like that would have been the end of the story. But because they wanted more gameplay, we're gonna suck in the whole house. This would be, once again, a opportunity to potentially zoom out and have us just suck in the entire county and the entire electrical grid. But I don't think we're going that direction. Also, it's fairly obvious that the hole is jumping up in size fairly largely and in very large steps. And I would think that should be the end. I was right. Hollow Earth. Occam's razor. Yep. How many hours do we have to listen to this? So Possum, do you know how to locate Pup? Pup, Pup. I think I heard the cops looking for a dog and a hot air balloon. ... Where is he? I might be able to find out if I had a raccoon police scanner. OMG. BK, where can we get a raccoon police scanner? The police chief probably has one, but he's at Raccoon Lagoon today. It's his day off. Let's wreck it. Mira, are you serious? Raccoon Lagoon is the happiest raccoon place on Raccoon Earth. It's got great tunes and water balloons. ... Raccoon Lagoon is the home for the fun flume that's fun for the raccoons. You have no choice, BK. The flume is doomed. Fine. But you have to answer to the police chief when he's down here. So it's interesting that the police chief would be a raccoon when it seems like the raccoons are the bad guys. And you have some very different visuals here, so this would also feel like potentially the end. I'd like to have kind of like a domino effect where everything would fall into the hole, but I don't think that's going to happen. And the idea of pots and broken pots have long since been forgotten about. So there's very little physics in this physics game. It would have been very hard to make a physics game, certainly, obviously, that was built around more physics elements. Like, I once had a concept of a game where you could just have destructible physics around in a game forever, and you would eventually just end up in a white void because you're destroying the entirety of the world. Interesting. Got a fish. And this gives us water. Oh, we've got to get it to go up the water wheel. I get it. I don't think you're supposed to do it this way, though. I think you're supposed to shoot these water balloons up several times. And then use the fish. If you don't have a water balloon, can suck in all of these. And the fact that these are all raccoons, I think probably does tell me that this is close to the end. And there's a little camera for the ride to take a picture as he goes around. And with that, we now just have larger amounts of water that we can suck in, which if it's water, it doesn't do anything but get the raccoons wet. I bet they don't appreciate that. Let's see if we can break the wheel with the water. Yeah, I think we have to do it a couple times. And that gave us an achievement. Breaking the castle. This is basically Disneyland or Disney World without the licensing names around it. Everything is kind of crammed in that corner, and it feels like that should have been addressed better. Yeah, and an amusement park in a Disneyland would be about the last big thing you could hit as far as big individual items. Sure, you could have something like Manhattan where there's a bunch of big skyscrapers all very close to each other, but that wouldn't be very exciting. Oh. Blah. Is he alive? Grab me the scanner. Guys, I could get in trouble for this. Trash King will take me away. Will take away my tablet if he finds out. Oh no. Are you gonna get grounded too? Will he drop you and your little friends into a weird cave? Okay, I get it. Possum, got anything on the scanner? One sec. Yes, got it. Trouble continues at Raccoon HQ. Raccoon City HQ feels like this is definitely a reference to Resident Evil. Day 3 of protesters. They have custom t-shirts now. That's not it. Donut County donut shop is missing. Investigation underway. Eyes out for delivery raccoon named BK. Ack! Turn it off. There's gotta be some news about Pup. Cresting back up on the 405. Hot air balloon causing traffic jam. That must be my Pup. Got it. He's on the 405. Yes. We better hurry, BK. The cops are after him. The cops are after me. Calm down. It's okay, dude. I'll visit you in jail. What? I know. I'm a really good friend. But first, we have a delivery to make. Yeah. Suppose if everything looks like a hammer, then I'm... No, what's the saying? The saying is, if you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so, if we only have a hole, every solution here looks like that. Alright, so I guess what we're trying to do is move the hole so it drops the coffee cup on top of it. And then it jumps into a much bigger hole so we can get this little mouse car, which is surrounded by raccoon cars from the looks of it. Seems like raccoons have taken over. And they've just set up a full-on TV viewing party on the road here. I don't know what that picture is that they're looking at, as the Donut County truck is getting a new tire. It definitely feels like the raccoons are conspiring to wreck everything out of maybe just silliness more than anything else. It's actually fairly expensive and hard to get multiple TVs to show parts of a single image. You can get a video card to do 4, maybe 6 monitors, but when you're talking a 3x3 grid of 9 monitors or more, you have to have some fairly expensive equipment for that kind of setup. Not big enough to get the table. What's funny is I have the chute. I can shoot up a donut. But and all the police are in quadcopters too. So I'm wondering if I'm supposed to hit that guy. Alright, so now we have a camera, which by setting the camera, I'm dazzling the guy. So now we have a raccoon, which is pulling down the thing. I suppose this probably highlights how this would get a little out of control. These puzzles could get a little crazy if you're having to do 4 or 5 things all in a row. There is a possibility that you would make a puzzle that would just be too complicated to figure out. Although with these levels being as small as they are, you basically could try everything and then that would work. A white raccoon. So is this supposed to be a boss, or is this supposed to be is that the Raccoon King? Did we just suck in the Raccoon King, or did we suck in some bigger fat raccoon character? Now the 4 or 5 is just gonna drive in here, and the hole is so big that I don't think we can avoid sucking in cars even if we wanted to, and the trees are on fire. I'm not sure if there's a reason why the trees are on fire. And I would suspect this is probably it. I could have broken this episode into 2 episodes, but whatever. Pup, you're safe. Rough. Okay, pup, get out. I need this hot air balloon. I'm going up to save us. No way, dude. You can't go alone. You just run away. I'm coming with you. I'm coming too, in case we need to hack into the mainframe. ... No. Yeah. Don't. Just stay here. Are you guys just leaving? With no plan? We're going to talk to the leader of the raccoons. Trash King. We're going to do a boss fight and kick his butt. Dude, you always screw up the boss fight. You gotta follow my lead this time. Maybe just try talking to him first? We'll try. Good luck then. Thanks, Coco. So they're flying up and we can see a zoomed out city, and maybe this is just going to be the big boss fight. And then it is basically Hollywood, LA. People that live in LA probably are a bit cathartic on the idea of destroying LA, because it is a very expensive and often dirty nightmare of a place to live, from what I've heard about. Wow, eerie. It doesn't feel that different up here. It's like we got replaced by raccoons. ... What? I already said I'm sorry. You don't have to rub it in. You think this is all my fault? I feel bad, but I can't undo what I did. In a lot of ways, this has some subtle, like, gentrification narrative to it. Getting rid of, scaring away poor people to build big, rich, fancy buildings and housing. And there probably have been some instances of people straight up destroying houses and to get rid of poor people. Gentrification, I won't go into a big rant, is a problem, certainly, and there needs to be affordable housing in some aspect in every region, and LA is kind of the exact opposite of that, where there is no affordable housing, and that is in part why they have such a large homelessness problem, is that they've let people remodel and flip houses and increase the expense of owning a house to a ridiculous level. BK, here's a tip. You're feeling guilty. I don't blame you for everything that raccoons do. You still want to be friends? I do. But if you want to be friends with me, don't make your guilt my problem. Oh yeah, and wash my car. Also, give my dog a bath. They introduced the dog at the beginning. I forgot all about him. Deal. There it is. Raccoon HQ. It's that thing on the old observatory hill. Well, kind of looks like a big garbage can. I know, cool, right? I guess it makes sense Trash King lives there. Let's go for it. Wow, it smells awful. Do you guys use like reverse air fresheners? Sniff. Home sweet home. Lol. Okay, you should call Trash King now. Try to convince him to help us fix everything. Are you kidding? I can't call him. It would be extremely awkward. Text him then. Fine. So, hey, duck. We'll do one duck. TK. Hello? Who is this? Sorry, new phone. Okay, where'd the cursor go? It's still there, it just fades out for kind of no good reason. It's kind of interesting that the cursor is just a white dot. That seems fairly lazy when you could just have your standard mouse cursor. It's BK. What does BK stand for? Does it really stand for Bonky Kong, or does it maybe stand for Broke King or Brother King? I work for you. I was wondering, like, is it possible to undo some of the holes and give people their trash back? He doesn't respond. Okay, never mind. No problem. What is he saying? It didn't work, dude. I think he's mad at me. Dang, whoops. You know what would be fun? Opening a hole and wrecking this place. Lol, yep. Let's do it. Bahaha. Okay, one hole coming up. Okay. So often this is the problem with all my series and video games in general, is that they don't give you a good clear indication as to where the end is. They stretch things out, or they put another twist in it. And with each new twist there is... Well, we tried. Oh well. Nothing else we can do, lol. I can help, says Possum. Possum, we told you to stay with everyone. You did, but I read between the lines. I can help you hack into the HQ's security system. You can sneak a hole inside that way. How do we hack in? Just plug this into the security systems. Whoa, sweet. We can use the catapult. Okay, here goes nothing then. So then we've now got a circuit chip. And we'll catapult this up. Possum hack protocol. Now we're inside of Raccoon HQ. We can get this coffee mug and the toilet paper and not sure we can get much more. Let's see. I think that's the kind of idea here, is that we're gonna potentially have to go around now to different locations, which this is just like a whole different way to play it, certainly. And then we're gonna have to go back once we get the hole big enough. See, that looks like that would have fit. So now we've got the guy in the hole. What are we doing with the guy in the hole? You have a whole pipe of trash I'm noticing over here. Much like the pipes in Portal. Seemingly we can't get back into the bathroom. I guess I'm supposed to hit this because there's a red card in there. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then we now have a zoom in because we have the red card. Go into the biology lab. Welcome to the biology lab, new recruits. So this definitely feels like this could have been the entirety of the game where you went from one area directly connected to another area. Donut County was a home to many rude screaming beasts. Nobody knows why, the animals were just outside. It's our job to figure out the purpose of these rude creatures. Or is he saying rude or nude? Watch as our top raccoons extract the facts. Alright. So they're experimenting on the snake, which would then give us the snake ability. And so it does feel like we are going just back through everything we've done before. Alright. So we have a grab button here, which won't do anything for us. I'm doing this wrong. Down and down. Grab this other one. So now we've got some more to grab. Okay, frog lets us then eat the flies. There is a certain level here where it definitely would have made sense to have levels where there was just a ton of junk all over the place, and to the point where you would actually have to vacuum up and clean. A certain level, I guess, this is the joy of vacuuming and the joy of cleaning, which only I imagine a small number of people actually find joy in vacuuming and cleaning. He's gonna fall down the hole, I think, smoothly to open up the rabbits. When we get one rabbit and another rabbit together, they were supposed to make rabbit babies. Making the hole very big. Don't panic. It's just a rogue hole. This is literally very normal. I turned on the emergency lights because it's fun. ... Please finish filling out your waivers in the next 5 seconds. Okay, that's one down on the camera screen. But apparently we've now got to deploy a new hole because we can't get the old hole out of the Like, you can't get the old hole out of the room. Which that could have been the concept, certainly, from the beginning, too. They could have just been roads from one location to another location. Then at the very least you wouldn't have to play around with the concept of having each of the characters directly order a donut, since that probably didn't play any role in the game, in the story. It was just filler storyline. Before Raccoons, the people of Donut County produced a wide variety of trash. We believe each piece of trash has a special significance. Our scientists studied this trash round the clock so that we can learn to create our own someday. Let's see what they're up to. There's kind of a shockingly small number of humans in this game, with just Mira being the only one. Yep. And probably should have realized that this was going to take longer than I thought it was. But this may be it. We may have just this room, and then after this room, maybe a major fire. No, I'm setting off the fire alarm. There may be just one major fight with the Trash King, and that's it. Nobody panic. Everything is fine. To whomever is driving this hole, please go away. And I wouldn't be surprised if what happens here. Yeah, we electrified that. So we can suck up the water. Alright. I think what we're supposed to do here is cook something. Okay, we power this. We've got the water. Let's not have the bird drink it. Let's instead see if Okay. Alright. I think we want the bird to drink the water. I think we want to start this on fire. And then we want to shoot that up there, I guess. That was confusing, to say the least. Well, that concludes the tour. Attention hold driver. Meet me in my office. Thank you. So yeah, it's a 3x3 grid of cameras, but only 3 of the screens are actually open. Right. And we have a lot of destruction happening here. You can't suck in a hole with a hole. I'm almost wondering if he'll have some kind of hole ability that's on the ceiling that sucks things upward, and we're gonna have to fight to to keep items and grow our hole versus his hole. Or maybe we're just going to have to move faster. Trash King's office. I also wouldn't be surprised if this is just kind of it. And it's just going to be kind of a cutscene. Here we can see a picture or a collection of everything. Or several of the things we collected. Not everything, I think. Seems like we're going to get to a point where we're either walking into a trap or the lights are going to come on and there's just going to be a ton of trash. Or both. We're stuck now. BK, please report to my office right now. I'm opening up direct access for you alone, BK. We have urgent business. Whoa, he said my name. Are you sure you can handle him alone? He seems like he stinks. Yeah, he definitely stinks, but I can handle him. I thought about what you said earlier. This is my mess to clean up. So I wouldn't be surprised if BK becomes the new king. It is, but you can always call me for backup. I appreciate it. Wish me luck. You don't need it. You're gonna kick butt. Lol. Thanks, dude. You know, having just played a game with a ton of dialogue and text in it, a couple of games actually in a row, I really appreciate how there is dialogue here. It would have been nice if it was voice, certainly, but this is not so much dialogue that it needs voice acting, and I definitely appreciate that this is a little short and to the point. Overall, I kind of appreciate that this game is a little short and to the point. It's barely been 2.5 hours. Want a pickle? No. I'm here to get you to reverse the holes. Bring everyone back. Did you know you're the highest rated hole driver in Donut County? You're famous, BK. Whoa, really? Picture this, dude. Full-time employee status. Company stock. The company will take care of everything for you. They'll even wipe your butt. I hate wiping my butt. If you join me, you'll get to play with the real big boy toys. What is that supposed to be? A quadcopter? Oh, that is the King quadcopter. It has a cement cannon for tough construction jobs. It's the pickup truck of quadcopters. OMG. OMG. I have one more thing to show you. Follow me. Hey, Possum? Do you have a bazooka? Or something that can blow up a bunch of quadcopters? Nah, but I could check the dark web when we get back. Never mind. Maybe they're just here for fun. Hurry up, BK. That's where the holes come from? Sick. BK, those nerds in the hot air balloons are holding you back. You gotta learn to put yourself first. You gotta reach in and take the pickle. What if my hand gets stuck like yours? Oh, his hand is stuck in a pickle jar? They probably should have hinted at that at the beginning of the game. Somewhere in the middle of the game, at least, saying, rumor is that there's a raccoon with his hand stuck in a pickle jar. Something like that. It's not stuck. I could take it out whenever. It's meant to inspire you. But yeah, this is the old adage where he won't let go of the pickle, so he can't get his hand out of the jar. Sign this. Wow, branch manager. Can I get health insurance? Yep, and of course, a brand new quadcopter. Huh. Alright, hand me the pen. Uh-oh. That sounds... It's the King quadcopter. We need to surrender, Mira. That thing can easily pop our balloon. Not if we blow it up first. Question mark, question mark. I told you I don't have a bazooka. And the Trash King has my hacking device. We're gonna use a hole. Trust me. It's designed to destroy stuff. So BK is not flying this and we're not gonna get like a big twist. Alright. Okay, so he just cemented the hole. I get it. The bombs. The thing is to avoid being cemented. To then grab a small bomb and shoot it back up. It's trying to blow away the balloon. It's a little odd to even have a boss fight around this. We gotta shoot this back up. Like, we're losing as far as the health bar is concerned, because every time it blows us away. Okay. So I'm gonna fail this almost certainly. I need to just eat the small bomb and let it explode inside me, I think. And then I needed to have... Yeah. Or I needed to eat the small bomb and then let it happen. Alright, and now... Now we're severely limited as to where we can move. Right. There. So you don't have to wait for it to get lower, but it seems like it does get lower. Oh, this is a nightmare. Good news is we only have to do this 3 times, but there's certainly a way in which this could get crazy. And that's weird that the cursor it's weird that the cursor popped up there in the middle of that fight. There definitely should have been at least a mid-boss battle like that where you fought a regular quadcopter first to introduce that concept. It's far too late in the story to introduce a completely different experience. We destroyed it, all without BK's help. I can't believe he abandoned us. He sold us out. I'm not surprised. BK is a true capitalist. Well, I'm gonna kick his butt. I'll fix this quadcopter and smash it again. What was that? It's back and it has a bazooka. Not fair. Don't blow us up. Ha ha ha. You thought you could use my holes against me? I'm the Trash King. I rule. I designed this app. Sorry to burst your balloon, but your friend BK took the pickle. Later, nerds, have fun. You see the cursor is back. And that seems weird that it should even be on the screen during the dialogue. It should be disappeared. Sorry I'm late. I didn't take the pickle. BK. He's got the hacking device. We can hack into the quadcopter and take it apart. BK, hold still. I'm gonna catapult you right into the quadcopter. Dodge the bazooka. Okay. Wait, don't let me get blown up. Alright, so immediately below. And then we hack again. Seems like it takes too long for the catapult to decide that it can shoot things upward. Good news is it seems like you can do that all in one cycle though. Which I appreciate that because we really didn't need a whole nother level. Why do we have this whirlwind? Oh, I guess I sucked in a propeller. And by sucking in a propeller, that let me do spinny whirlwind effects. Giant tornado effects, which is letting me, I guess, destroy the entire city, or the entire observatory here. It definitely is a whole different physics experience though. And it feels like I'm destroying things, but I'm not big enough to actually suck in things anymore. It doesn't seem like you can hit the balloon at all. And it doesn't seem like I can quite affect the statue. But I was able to get the statue and that actually got me an achievement. Although at this rate, it does feel like there's about 21 achievements, no, about 11 achievements left. And I think I'd have to go back to specific levels to do that, to try and get them all, and it may not be worth the time. And that took forever to destroy that building, and that also gave me an achievement, so now down to 10 achievements. You guys ruined everything. Sigh. I guess raccoons just can't cut it in Donut County. Well, like, you can't cut it, dude. Yeah, lol, your company stinks. You ruined the neighborhood. BK, it's not about the company. In a lot of ways, this is maybe an allegory for what Walmart did to small town business and small towns in general. Like, there are definitely some allegories, certainly, around this simplistic concept that you could see if you want to see them, but you could easily overlook them or not see them if you just don't want to see them. Think about all the innocent raccoons that moved here. OMG, give me a break. The truth is, we're running out of trash. We first came to Donut County because the trash was plentiful. Now we have to keep opening up more and more holes to get less and less trash. It's looking out for us, dude. And trash could be an allegory for oil. No, you weren't. You were just looking out for yourself. You didn't run out of trash, you ran out of people to steal from. What am I supposed to do? I have nothing now. Bring everyone back. Yeah, all of our stuff too. Ugh. Humph. It's so much work though. I'd have to build a huge catapult. If you do it, we'll tell you how to get your hand out of the pickle jar. Really? Nope. Lol. Lol. So here you have a giant catapult. And I had assumed that this is the end, and this would be a great place to have the credits, to have all the characters just flying through the sky as the credits scroll. I think it's ready. Okay, everybody. One at a time. Let's get moving. Thanks, Mira and BK. Stay out of trouble. Rough. Before I go, I have one request. Could you please not catapult any snakes back up there? I'll see what we can do. Nope. It's been wild, y'all. Sorry again, guys. It's okay. We forgive you, Mira. Yeah, not you though, BK. Haha, yeah, you stink. Haha. Okay, bye, whatever. Again, just jump cut animations from standing next to the button to pushing the button. Hey, Coyote, I was thinking, huh? Would you like a job at the donut shop? We're going clean, I promise. Yeah, I suppose I'd like that. But I get to be your boss. A little weird, but okay. Only time, question mark. Who can say if things will ever get back to normal? Yeah, things probably won't feel normal for a while. No matter. We can sail and let the bunnies flow. Well, sorry for the mess. It's okay. What's funny is it's two deer people, is what it looks like. Two deer people that love to watch bunnies for some reason. And then there's that weird disconnect where you have chickens and bunnies that look like just regular chickens and bunnies, but then you also have anthropomorphic other animals. It's the Donald, not Donald, it's Goofy versus Pluto in the Disney cartoons, where Goofy is an anthropomorphic dog and Pluto is a regular dog. Mira. BK. Nice job blowing up the quadcopter, lol. Ah, thanks. You know, I was thinking, I sure hope you don't mention anything to the cops about my explosive businesses. That'd probably be pretty shocked to hear who destroyed the 405 and all the other stuff you guys blew up, you know? Just saying, as a friend. Okay. So he's blackmailing them. Well, thanks for threatening us. Later. I've got a joke for you guys. Did you ever hear about the one about the raccoon kissing the chicken? Nope, how does it go? Dude, I'm not gonna kiss your dirty chicken. Buck. Well, it's been real. Yeah, real waste of time. Haha. Thanks for introducing me to the frog, though. It's a cool frog. Look how big the frog is. Pretty cool, I guess. It all worked out. Okay, you can launch me now. Yeah, okay. Hey guys, stop by the cat soup sometime, will you? Sure. Are you gonna get rid of those bugs? I don't know. I feel like they're kind of a secret ingredient now. Lol, sweet. You should throw some apple cores and fishbone in there. Make a garbage stew. Whoa, good idea. Ew, no. Ew. Go away. And she pushed the button that time, so they made a separate animation for her pushing the button. Sorry I doubted you, Possum. No sweat, Mira. You shouldn't trust what anyone tells you, especially BK. Don't worry, I'll never trust him again. What? After all this? OMG, I'm kidding. See? You can't trust anyone on this flat, hollow earth. OMG, whatever. You know it's gonna take a lot of time for me to forgive you guys. You messed up, like every possible thing. I'm sorry, Coco. BK. I'm sorry too, Coco. You still wanna go to the beach next weekend? Yeah, let's do it. Hey Mira. Thanks for being so cool to me. And for showing me how to be good. And for your patience. And OMG. Okay, that's enough praise. I don't know, maybe someday you'll make it up to me. After you do my laundry for 100 years. Praise me now. Well, okay. After spending so much time with you, I decided. You stink only 75% as much as the Trash King. You still need a bath, though. You love my stink. I don't. I really don't. Lol. Would you do me the honor of pressing the launch button? Gladly. Too slow. Ha. Yeah, there's some weird animations certainly there, and oddly another achievement. And so apparently the credits are in quadcopter form. So there's a whole like quadcopter animation here that you could have controlled. Story by Geneva Hodgson. And seemingly like we could spin around our perspectives, which really makes it feel like you could have possibly had this been the gameplay mechanic where you planned everything, like you planned everything first and then had a limited amount of time potentially to actually play the game. And then you have additional tools by, well, I wouldn't even try that to pronounce that. Yeah, if you were told each level you only had 2 minutes to suck it in as much as possible, Raccoon Rooter is what was on the sign. Previously, the sign was limited, so you could only really see about that much. So it never showed what was on the sign. Icon design by Lily Nishida. It seems like you can bump into things fairly easily. Music by Dan Koesner. Additional music by Ben Esposito. I'm not sure that these birds were used in the game. I don't recall seeing a bird that way. Localization assistance by Chloe Lister. Seems like it would be fairly easy to miss some of the credits, and this is a weird way to present the credits, because if you're trying to credit people, you would actually try and credit them and make sure everybody sees the credits. You wouldn't is a quadcopter holding it up. You wouldn't create a scenario where one person might get left out, and I think you just exit whenever you feel like exiting with the X button instead of the B button. And this chain certainly is driving me to want to fly up higher. And really this goes to show that I think you probably would hit an invisible wall here, and you can't just fly to the next location, but maybe you can. Yeah, nope, there's a bit of an invisible wall, I think, stopping me from going any further. And you can see there's entire swaths of land here that you're seeing. So this could have been a connected world. They did that, and yet that's not how they presented the game. It really does feel like this is a situation where they developed the game in a very linear fashion. And I'm trying to see, I suspect that we have a big donut-shaped cloud that we're flying through. But yeah. My suspicion would be that you are, that they developed the game in a linear fashion, and the idea of making a world that was somewhat connected only happened as they're doing this credits instead of rethinking things. I did get an achievement by flying up here, and so we've found the trash can. You even have a little map here. That's not the button I meant to hit. Nobody seems to react when you honk at them. At a certain level, quadcopters would either be out of signal range, or if they could just fly infinitely high upward, they would eventually get to an atmosphere so thin that you would have to spin the blades faster and use more energy, to the point where at some point you're going to have to approach exiting the atmosphere. So it really feels like mostly it was Ben Esposito, but clearly there was a couple other people that worked on the game. And so they did throw in different credits, which, yeah, I would think it's best for everybody to stick to this. I don't think we saw the additional art name when we flew around. So we did miss one person's credits. But yeah, and I didn't see any special thanks mentioned. But yeah, I would definitely say it's best for all video games to just send this way. And this was funded in part by Jonathan Blow and an indie fund, which, and apparently the idea was inspired by Peter Molyneux, another big name in game development. Jonathan Blow also being a big name in video game, at least for a small amount of time there. This is once again one of these games that feels like it came from a game jam concept, or the idea of just indie developers funding other indie developers. And that's cool and all. Like, I do think the grant system potentially to make art is the best way to fund art being made. There are winners and losers certainly in that. I imagine the indie fund is giving money to their friends, not to random people they've never heard of across the planet, for instance. And I imagine even people who would like to make games that don't have those connections and haven't gone to game jams or talked to people or online and don't have like Twitter followings with other indie game developers don't get those same opportunities. Which at some level maybe there is something to all of that, that it would be a smart experience if there was a more kind of random fulfillment or more legislated way in which grants could be given out. Not to get into a big economics rant, but if things like a universal basic income existed, a lot of people would have their basic needs met, and then they could learn the program and make games. Make a game not unlike this. Like, with an infinite amount of free time and desire, I could fairly easily have made a game like this if I had thought of it. But that's not the situation now, of course. So we have to have independent game funds or independent funding agencies like the Indie Game Fund give this person a chance to make this game. And there is a danger, certainly, and a criticism you can make around a game like this, that it may have been made because the fund funded it more than it was made because there was a great, well-polished concept of a game here. This is fine as an experience for being about 3 hours long, but that's really, really short. The story is not even really written by Ben Esposito according to the credits, and it is silly, but it is the kind of silliness you could have seen in a comic strip or comic book or even a cartoon There's the story being told here really doesn't need to be in a video game form. And when you just look at the gameplay mechanics, there are only the beginnings of interesting ideas as far as how you control the whole and how you manipulate things. But a second pass at this game could have done a lot better, certainly, as far as making it more of a challenge. This is a stupidly easy game. Like, there was really no excuse for anybody not finishing this game, except for maybe the boss fight at the end. If somebody just had some real problems with their fingers and couldn't actually control a controller or a touchscreen, then I could see them struggling with that boss fight while doing fine with the rest of the game. And that could be a real irritant for a very small percentage of players if they made it all the way to the boss fight and then were just losing completely. So hopefully you would almost hope that there's a way to skip the boss fight if you fail a couple times just to get to the end credits. But yeah, you would have definitely wanted to introduce a boss fight somewhere around the second level, a very low level boss, a boss fight somewhere in the middle of the game, and a boss fight at the end if you're going to do that. As I said before, the hole should probably be different shapes on top of being different sizes. The catapult idea is not implemented to its fullest, and each puzzle gameplay mechanic that is introduced only comes back at the very end to remind people that it existed. And frankly, some of those gameplay mechanics don't even come back at the end. The Trashopedia here really means nothing. Somebody spent a lot of time writing single sentence descriptions of each of these 3D models, when almost certainly I would still say, even though the credits doesn't point this out or admit to this, almost certainly most of these 3D models were not handmade. Something like this definitely would have had to have been modified to look like a raccoon, but this, you could clearly pre-buy this. They introduced the mouse as a character and then didn't say anything about the mouse or even have the mouse talk also, which I suppose that's fine, but the narrative reason and going to the narrative conversations in between levels is probably a mistake, where if it had just been an open world and you did one level, it should just pop up a score screen for the cell phone game and then give you a score, and then when you leave that score screen you should then just continue playing. I would definitely say you're going to get a lot more fun playing Katamari Damacy compared to this game. You'll play it for a lot more, you'll have a lot more of a reason to go back and play it a second time, you'll get better audio, and you'll get a whole bunch of funnier story. And there are multiple Katamari Damacy games, compared to there being very unlikely to ever even be a sequel to Donut County. It'd be hard to do in a storyline reason. It would be hard to remake the whole county and do it a second time and have new items or have new puzzles. I wouldn't even think DLC or expansion passes could be released for something like this. It's really a one and done concept. And generally speaking, I would want to have a I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, you might want to have a level editor, or just more of more of a reason to want to love this game and come back to it, and it's just not there. So you can see here they're at the beach. I don't think any of these interact, so this is your now your start screen compared to the original start screen. And you can just select specific levels, but if you were to select specific levels, it's not telling you if you missed anything. So I'd have to look at the achievements, of which I can see there is 8 remaining. I'm going to have to consider what the achievements hint at and select each of these levels to get the achievements. And I think I would probably just do that off screen. Yep, there's a lot of extra levels, certainly. And Catapult isn't actually really a level, nor is Aftermath. But I thought we were probably done with the game at, well, I was starting to think we'd probably be done with the game about here, and then here. Definitely could have been a point where it could have ended. Here could have been a point where it ended, and here definitely could have been a point where it ended. And so this would have been a great point to have some kind of boss fight after that story, and you could have potentially had a snake boss fight after this story. That would have worked too. Right, and this says BK and then SQUAD, squad. Like, if you read it upside down though, it looks like punks, or close enough to punks, but it says BK squad. And then here's the dog eating bread. They did nothing with that as a concept. They did nothing with these being anthropomorphic animal characters, so much so that really they should have just had Mira be an anthropomorphic animal character. 2, there is definitely some weirdness in your character design. Anyways, I feel like I would be just nitpicking if I went much further. The game is fine. It's not like I would just rush through this in less than 2 hours and then feel shortchanged, but yeah, this is really a game that feels like a first pass, and the standard for even indie games is higher than that, and it's hard to really call this actually an indie game. There is a catch-22 when you have an indie fund funding your indie game. That's not independent at that point, because with that funding is probably some requirements to actually make a product and release it, and some time frame around that. And this is hardly an indie game if you were to define indie games as being made by a single creator alone, which I'm not sure any actual game is ever made with a single creator's efforts. There's always somebody that kind of helps. But yeah, that's going to be it for Donut County. Unfortunately, my efforts to make 30-minute episodes have fallen flat, as we have a 2-hour wrap-up. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.